Besides a few shorts that I've uploaded, I know that I have been very inactive with posting on YouTube, and for that I apologize. I know I don't have a lot of subscribers, but I'm guessing you guys have been waiting for me to post more Grand Theft Auto 5 Let's Play videos, and you guys are probably expecting this one to be Grand Theft Auto 5, and obviously it's not. And my apologies. Don't worry though, I'm not canceling that Let's Play series or anything. It's still ongoing. I just have to finish editing the videos and then they'll be uploaded as usual, or somewhat usual. In the meantime, I just wanted to do something a little bit different. For those of you that know me well enough, you know that I'm kind of an ASMR junkie. And, you know, clearly this is primarily a gaming channel with, you know, some other stuff thrown here and there. But I get recommended, like, ASMR gaming videos on not only my TikTok feed, but more recently here on YouTube, and that kind of inspired me to start my own little series here on YouTube, especially since I have a huge gaming backlog and visual novels take up a good chunk of that backlog, so to me it just makes sense to do some ASMR with visual novels because it's mostly reading. So yeah, I have kind of done this ASMR gaming thing on Twitch once. You know, I did like a little Papa's Susharia or something like that as kind of like a joke, but not really. I would like to also continue this on Twitch again at some point as well, but definitely here on YouTube as like a little series. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that and like that idea. If you guys don't know, oh, and by the way, shameless plug-in, and speaking of my Twitch, if you are new here, because most of my subscribers are originally from Twitch, but if you're new here and you enjoy watching live streams, please consider checking out my Twitch. It'll be linked down below. But anyway, if you don't know, this game is called collarxmalice. If you're an Otome fan, you've probably at least heard of this game. I did get this game when it first came out back in 2020. I played some of it. I live streamed it, actually, some of it on my Twitch. For some reason, though, just never got around to finishing it, so I really wanted to tackle this game first on this little series thing I want to do. But yeah, I've been told that I have a very calming voice, so I also factored that in when wanting to do this little ASMR gaming YouTube series thing. Hopefully they weren't just being nice and that I wasn't actually boring them and that my voice is actually calming and soothing. I don't get how it is, but yeah, hopefully they're right, I guess. Anyway, please get cozy, comfortable, and I hope you enjoy the collarxmalice Let's Play. I'm gonna stop my rambling now. Okay, so our main character's default name is Ichika Hoshino. We're just gonna keep her default name. Okay, this is a little bit confusing to me. Again, it's been a long time since I last played this, it was like October 2020, so almost 6 years. I'm guessing, prologue would be the more logical decision to pick when you're just starting out. So, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot how freaky this game is. I mean, it is a thriller, so I mean, hopefully, I can still make this cozy for you guys. I mean, there's like eerie, relaxing ambience out there. I mean, there's a ton of Silent Hill stuff and Resident Evil stuff, so yeah. Report of X-Day incidents. Report of the X-Day incidents. April 1st. The video that started all this played on the giant screen facing Shinjuku train station. Oh yeah, I forgot how good the music was in this game.
日本を再生するため、これより X デイへのカウントダウンを開始します。我々の目的はただ一つ。この新宿区を再生の足がかりとし、汚染を浄化していくことにあります。恐れを抱いた者はこの地を去ってください。我々は引き止めはしません。ですがどこにいたとしても我々の裁きは下ります。例外はありません。我々は世界の断りを再生させ、弱者が虐げられるだけの世の中を変えるのです。
In order to restore tainted Japan to health, the countdown to X-Day will now begin. Our objective is simple: purge the corruption from the land and make Shinjuku the site of its rebirth. If you are afraid, then leave this land. You will not be stopped. But know this: no matter where you are, you will be judged. There are no exceptions. We will resurrect truth in this world. No longer will only the weak be persecuted. Some people, appearing to be police officers, were tied up in the video, so police are working frantically to trace the broadcast. Prior to the broadcast, a number of officers have been reported missing. The transmission's origin and the officers were never found, and then May arrived. Another video showing the bound officers, like the one in April, was uploaded. Thank you for waiting, everybody. The time for judgment is at hand. As we mentioned before, the people here are criminals. In order to cure Japan, such people must be exterminated. Judgment has been passed as a preview of X Day. This is not the end. Henceforth, we will continue to mete out justice to aid our nation's rebirth. Our name is Adonis. Hear me well, listeners. Make sure that you remember this name, okay? May this world become a paradise. Gunshots rang out during the declaration, and the police officers were shot. The police traced the video to an abandoned building and confirmed one officer's death. However, other officers' bloodstains were found. The criminal's trail and the missing officers' whereabouts are still unknown. This incident began a chain of heinous crimes that continued into June, July, and August, and the number of victims steadily rose. Public scrutiny of the police grew harsh as time passed, and police efforts were fruitless. A Roman numeral indicating a countdown and a unique coin believed difficult to counterfeit were found at the scene. Markings on the coin led some to speculate that the once dismantled terrorist organization known as Adonis has been reborn. And then on September 1st, exasperated by the repeated incidents, the government enacted extreme measures. Shinjuku Quarantine Act. This measure, intended to trap the criminals within the borders of Shinjuku, obviously drew the wrath of the public. Demonstrations bordering on riots broke out, but the government suppressed these and stated that it was for Shinjuku's safety. The government did not stop there. It also adopted unprecedented extra-legal measures. Bell of the Swords and Firearms Control Law. To provide citizens a means of defense, firearms were provided to all people over the age of 20 within Shinjuku. So I'm guessing Japan took some inspiration from the it was all under the pretext of self-defense. The firearms and ammo were all coded in order to quickly determine a shooter's identity. Whenever a weapon was discharged. The criminals have guns, so the people should be given equal access to equal arms. Thus, as an extra legal measure, the residents of Shinjuku District exclusively have an obligation to carry firearms. The law, ratified behind closed doors, was suddenly announced to the public. The police had to obey the government's mandate, and the unrest of the citizens trapped within Shinjuku swelled. Though upset, one could say that the citizens were now better suited to survive other incidents. It was obvious this plan was full of holes, but there was no turning back. On X Day, all would be reborn in order for their utopia to become reality. Chapter 0. Yes, you have reached the SRCPO. Yeah, this is Miss Hoshino on the line, right? That man with the gun is loitering here again. Please come right away. Was it that granny again, Hoshino? Yes. Your face tells me she hung up on you again. How many times is that now? I'm sorry. She always hangs up before I can say anything, so I couldn't tell her no. Listen, Hoshino, think about every time we've gone out there. Even when we would follow up on our reports, it's always just her imagination or something that wasn't worth the trip out there. How many times has she sent us out on a wild goose chase now? It certainly is true that we've gotten nothing out of any of her reports so far. But the way Shinjuku is now, we can't be certain that'll just be nothing again. Well, that's true. In any case, isn't the old woman just feeling uneasy? Until 3 short months ago, it would have been unimaginable for a common citizen to be carrying a gun like we are now. You're awful calm about all this, Hoshino. If I didn't know better, I'd never guess that you've only been on the job for half a year. Huh? Really? Really?
俺が入りたての頃なんてもっと必死でちょっとつ猛進というかがむしゃらに突っ走ってただけだからな。
Yeah. When I joined the force, I was a lot more reckless. I was pretty much a daredevil after all. Even now I think you're too bold. Sorry, I guess I should say hardworking.
いや、今は特防として苦情には平謝り。嫌味を言われても平謝りな日々だ。
Nah. Now all I do is in the SRCPO is take complaints and apologize for them, even when people talk crap.
昔だったらすぐに頭に血が上ってたぞ。俺も随分大人になったもんだ。
Back then, the blood would rush to my head. You know, I've really grown up now. Mm-hmm.
しかし、特防は X デー事件の捜査をさせてもらえるわけじゃないからな。それだけが残念だ。
Anyway, there's no way that SRCPO would get to work the SD cases. That's a real shame. Mochida's gazing into the distance again. He really wants to investigate those cases. Once the Quarantine Act was enacted, Shinjuku Station set up a service for residents. We've been soliciting tips on the incidents, but we're really understaffed. Special Regions Crime Prevention Office, or the SRCPO, comprises officers from many areas. We mainly deal with calls like the one earlier, or unverifiable claims, and we also patrol Shinjuku to keep the peace. Mochida and I were transferred from the local station here, so we often work together. Shinjuku is a hive of animosity and distress, so it's not safe to go for a leisurely stroll. Usually when we get a report, we'll hear about how people don't trust the police. But it still looks like there are some people who rely on the police.
そうだな。あんまりあのばあさんを待たせるわけにもいかないし。行くか。
You're right. We shouldn't keep that granny waiting too long. Let's go. Yes, sir.
今日も今日とて、ただ単に人相が悪い男がうれついてただけだったわけだな。
I'm sure it's just another guy hanging around that griped her out for no particular reason.
お前が話を聞くと、いつも帰る頃には安心した顔してるよ。
But whenever you hear her out, that old lady looks really relieved. Well, she lives alone, so I don't think she has anyone else that she can count on. She looks kinda scary, but sometimes she talks about her grandchild. I'm sure that she's actually a kind person.
そういうのもお前が相手だから話そうって思えるのかな。
It probably seems that way to her when you're the one talking to her. Wait, it probably seems that way to you when you're the one talking to her. Thank you.
子供やお年寄りから話を聞くのはお前の方が適任だ。
You're good at listening to children and elderly people.
俺はどうも相手が話してる途中で口を挟みたくなるんだよな。
Not me. I always want to cut them off and make them get to the point. I have to agree. Mochida is pretty much exactly like that.
星野、ここは否定するところだぞ。
Hey, Hoshino, this is where you're supposed to deny it. Oh, sorry.
後輩なら少しは先輩を立てろって気につくな。
Seriously, man, you're my subordinate. You're supposed to back me up. That hurts. Mochida is my superior, but he always treats me like we're equals, so I really feel like I can just be myself around him. I thought the police force would have a strict pecking order, so that was a big relief, though I'd never admit that to his face.
おい、あんたたち警察だよな。
Hey,
随分暇そうじゃねえか。
are you cops? Do you seem to have an awful lot of free time? Huh? I turned to face the voice behind me. A vexed man with a gun glared at me.
俺たちが新宿に閉じ込められたのってさ、警察が無能なせいだろ。
It's because you cops are so incompetent that we got trapped here in Shinjuku.
責任取って今この場で土下座しろよ。できるよな。でねえと。
Get on your knees and apologize to us. You'll accept your punishment, right? Or one of the men raised his gun at me.
やめとけ。
Stop that crap.
いってててててて。
Mochida. Mochida swiftly closed the distance and disarmed the man with an arm lock.
お前、そいつを離せ。
Damn you. Let him go.
銃による脅迫には刑罰が下される。お前たち知っててこんな真似してるのか？
Threatening someone with a gun has a harsh penalty. You still want to give it a shot.
それは。
だったらなんだって言うんだよ。文句あるのか。
So what? You think I care about that?
俺は言い訳をするつもりはない。
I won't make any excuses for what happened.
見たところ遊びたい盛りだろう。それなのにこんな事態に巻き込んだのは警察として申し訳ないと思う。
You can probably tell I'm just playing around. Still, I don't see any reason for a cop like me to endure treatment like this.
しかしな、その鬱憤を晴らすために誰かを傷つけようとするな。
Anyway, find a better way to vent your anger that doesn't involve hurting other people.
その銃は身を守るために使うものだ。武器として扱うのは許さん。
That gun was given to you for self-defense. It is not to be used as an offensive weapon. Perhaps cowed by Mochida's words, they reluctantly lowered their weapons.
それでいい。日も暮れるし、こんなところでつるんでないで、もう帰る。
The sun's going down now, so leave her alone and run on home. Mochida returned the gun he took from the man and shoot them off.
いいか、一般人相手に同じ真似はするなよ。二度目はないぞ。
Don't pull that on civilians. You hear me? Don't you ever do that again. The trio retreated quietly, and Mochida turned to me.
すまん、星野。今の奴らのことは。
Sorry, Hoshino. Those guys. I know. We'll overlook this, won't we? There's no shortage of people who harbor that kind of animosity towards the police. Obstructing an officer is a jailable offense, though they're not exactly wrong for blaming the police for creating the situation. Mochida must have felt the same way, so he chose to simply let them go without a warning, with a warning. I recorded the firearm number for their guns.
おお、助かる。あいつらも根は悪い奴らじゃないと思うな。一人は銃の安全装置をかけたままだったし。
Oh, thanks. I don't think those guys are bad people. One of them still had his safety on anyway.
しかしお前も頼もしくなったな。銃を向けられても冷静に状況を見て行動できてる。
Still, you've matured as a cop. You're calm when someone draws a gun on you. Or at you. Yes, it's kind of weird to say that I'm used to it, but I can assess the situation now. Once the swords and firearms law got repealed, I would tremble if I was drawn on. Despite my training at the police academy, I lost my nerve on several occasions when someone pointed a gun at me with hostility. But every time that happened, Mochida stepped in and protected me. It's all thanks to you, Mochida. Watching you handle yourself like you just did has eased my fear of guns quite a bit.
こういうのは場数を踏んでいくうちに慣れてくるもんだ。
It's something you naturally get used to once you've experienced it.
それにこういう時くらい先輩らしいところを見せないとな。
Besides, when situations like this arise, I gotta stick up for my subordinate. Mochida puffed out his chest and then let out a carefree laugh. He's relaxed like an easygoing uncle, but he's my reliable superior. Oh shit, what's going on? When we returned to the station, we could hear the stirrings of a commotion.
また誰かしょっぴかれたか。
Who'd they drag in this time? Well, crime rates in Shinjuku are at a record high.
それも再犯じゃなく初犯が大半だ。一般人が現状に納得していない証拠だろうな。
Most of them are first-time offenders. It means civilians haven't accepted things yet.
混乱に乗じて犯罪に手を染めるやつもいれば、第二の英雄になろうとしてるやつもいる。
As long as there are people willing to dirty their hands, there will also be wannabe heroes. Heroes, huh? Last month, a criminal claimed responsibility for X Day and started shooting randomly. Bystanders gunned him down, and the incident ended without any innocent victims. But there was talk of thank yous and rewards, and more people started to do the same. The criminal died of his wounds, but investigators found no connection between him and X Day. The theory is that he was a copycat criminal. Due to the incident, however, the number of people actively carrying guns increased.
国民の手で犯人を裁いたことがもてはやされ、軽犯罪の抑止力にもなっていると言われているが。
There are some who praise the citizens taking matters into their own hands, but
本来なら犯人逮捕は俺たち警察の仕事だ。それなのに。
normally our job would be to bring the guy in, despite all that. Officer Mochida, don't know who might be listening. Mochida looked around and made a sour expression. He lowered his voice.
すまん。上から納得しろと言われましたが、どうも煮え切らなくてな。
Sorry. I know the brass said to suck it up, but this is just so half-assed. I know how you feel. I'm just as impatient as you are. As a police officer, I also want to help solve the X-Day cases. All I can do is lend an ear to the citizens that turn to the SRCPO. That's all I can do.
なあ、星野。俺は地域企画課に用があるから、先に戻っててくれるか。
Hoshino, I have some business with the local planning office. Can you go on ahead? Yes, sir. I parted ways with Mochida, and soon I came across a familiar face. Good work today, Saiki.
ああ、星野。お疲れ。もう上がるのか？
Hey, Hoshino, same to you. Are you off today? No, not yet. I was just on my way to file a report. We attended the academy together and became friends while we were out drinking. We also got assigned to the same office, so we're drinking and venting buddies. What about you, Saiki?
いや、俺もお前と同じで報告書を書かなきゃでさ。
Nope, I'm also stuck here writing a report, same as you.
あ、そういや明日飲みに行く約束忘れてないよな。
By the way, we're still on for drinking tomorrow, right? Yeah, I have a lot of things I want to ask you.
なんだ、また悩み相談か？お前特防になってから多いよな。
What? More therapy sessions? You've had it rough since you joined SRCPO.
警察学校にいた頃は犯罪者を一人でも多く捕まえてみせるって燃えてたのにさ。
Back at the academy, you were always so fired up. You wanted to make a difference by catching even more criminals, or even one more criminal. Well, but back then, I never would have imagined things would turn out this way.
俺はお前の熱血ぶり嫌いじゃなかったけどな。
Hey, I'm not saying that I don't like that passionate side of yours.
窓際の特防に追いやられて情熱までなくしちゃったか。
I suppose all that passion went out the SRCPO service window, though. No, it didn't. My feelings haven't changed a bit from back then.
お、急に元気になったな。やっぱお前はそうでなくちゃ。
Oh, there's that spirit again. Yep, that's how you should be. Without thinking, I flashed a smile in response to Saiki's grin. I feel a bit more relaxed now. Saiki knows just the right thing to say when my mind is like this. He's a big reason why I can stay optimistic in this job, despite all the dilemmas I face.
なんだ、誰と話してるのかと思えば、佐伯か。
Well, I was wondering who you were talking to. Saiki, eh?
お疲れ様です、持田さん。
Good work today, Officer Mochida.
ああ、お前はもう上がりか？
Yeah. You off now?
いえ、もう一頑張りしないとです。それじゃあ失礼しますね。
No. I still need to follow up on some work. Have a good evening. Saiki bowed slightly towards Mochida and gave me a look.
頑張れよ。
Good luck. Yeah, thanks.
お前たちは相変わらず仲がいいな。明日も飲みに行くんだろ？
You two get along pretty well. Going drinking tomorrow, right? Huh? Did I mention that?
佐伯だよ。1週間くらい前だったかな。俺のところに来て、飲みに行く日はお前に残業させないでほしいって頼まれてさ。
Saiki did about a week ago, I think. He came by and told me when you were going out so that I wouldn't give you overtime. Sorry, Saiki's a little bit too straightforward sometimes.
まあこんな時だからな。羽を伸ばすのも大事だろう。楽しんでこい。
Well, at times like these, you gotta stretch your wings a bit. Have fun. I will. After I handed my report off to Mochida, I suddenly remembered something. I should stop by before I head home. When I have even a little bit of free time, I practice at the station's shooting range. I want to improve my skills just in case they're needed. Plus, shooting helps calm my nerves and deal with anxiety. I took a firing stance and took a deep breath. My hands used to shake just holding it. Even when firing on static targets, I was reluctant to hold a weapon for killing people. I was afraid. The day that I dispelled that hesitation was during training one day at the academy.
お、まだ残ってたのか？その顔じゃまた迷ってるみたいだな。
Oh, you're still here. Your face says something's bothering you again. Saiki, I don't think I'm suited for this job after all. I'm just shooting a target now, but what if it were a real person? I know I'd miss in that situation.
星野、お前はさ、銃が何のためにあると思う？
Hoshino, what do you think that gun is for? Huh. For catching criminals, right?
そこからしてちょっと頭固いんじゃないか。俺が銃を撃つのは守るためだと思って。
That again? Aren't you being a bit hard-headed? I believe that gun is so we can shoot to protect.
誰もが持てるもんじゃない。俺たち警察だけに許された守る手段だろ。
Not just anyone can do it. Police officers have trained to do so. Shooting to protect.
人質を取った犯人の隙をつく。逃亡しようとする奴の足止めをする。正確な射撃能力があれば、それも可能になる。
You could catch a hostage taker when he lowers his guard, or immobilize a fleeing criminal. You can do that with accurate marksmanship.
でも、撃つ覚悟と能力が備わってなけりゃ、人質をミスミス死なせてしまうかもしれない。犯人を逃して被害を広げるかもしれない。
But if you don't have the conviction and skill to shoot, you might let hostages die. Criminals could escape and commit more crime.
殺すためじゃない。守るために撃つ。そうは考えられないか？
It isn't a killing weapon. You shoot to protect. Can't you try and think of it that way? Yeah, you're right. The The reason we're issued guns is because we're responsible for protecting the people. Yeah.
でもさ、星野、銃を持つことを許された俺たちだからこそ、最悪の事態を考えなきゃダメだと思うんだ。
Yeah, besides Hoshino, I think that because we're allowed to carry guns, we need to be ready for the worst. Worst case scenario. You mean where we might have to kill to protect the innocent?
たとえそれで犯罪者の命を奪ったとしても、何かを守るためには代償を負う覚悟が必要だろう。
Yeah, you have to be prepared to take a life in order to protect the lives of others.
もしそういう選択を迫られたとき、お前は犯罪者を撃つ覚悟があるか？
If I were to come down to that, or if it were to come down to that, would you have what it takes to shoot? After listening to his words, I understood what the weight of a weapon meant to Psyche. For him, this was not just a tool for killing, it was a means to protect people. I shouldn't hold a gun without the resolve, and a police officer must be ready to shoot. After that, I devoted myself to training. As Psyche said, conviction alone is worthless. Without marksmanship, a gun would still just be a killing weapon. To make sure that I would be able to protect, I've been training at the range daily. My skills have improved dramatically. In fact, marksmanship is my greatest skill. Of course, I doubt my performance in the field will mirror my skill in training. I never know when that time will come. But when a key moment comes, I don't want regrets. As long as Shinjuku stays this way, as long as the X-Day incidents are unsolved, I get the feeling that I'll need to be ready. I aimed my pistol again and raised my head. No. One more time. No, wait. I'm actually playing. Okay. Phew. Phew. Before I knew it, an hour had passed. In the end, all of my shots had formed a tight grouping in the center. I let out a deep sigh. Some fine shooting as expected. Whoa. Surprised by the sudden voice behind me, I spun around, startled. Psyche, you still haven't left? I got bogged down with work. I figured I'd step out for a breather, and I saw that you were here. Oh, were you watching this whole time? You should have said something. You were concentrating pretty hard, so I didn't want to interrupt. Besides, I was enjoying it. Well,
好きなんだよ。お前の射撃見るの。なんか心が落ち着くっていうか、いろんなものが浄化される感じ。
I like watching you shoot. It helps me relax. It's cathartic, I guess. Haha. What the heck? Should I be happy to hear that?
もちろん褒めてるんだぜ。俺は尊敬してるんだ。お前のそういう努力家で一生懸命でまっすぐなとこ。
Oh my god, he's just like all over her, like... all over that pussy? No, I'm kidding. I mean, that's nice that he's like kind of that, you know, cheerleader for her. Especially in a world like this with these circumstances. Of course, it's a compliment. I respect you. I respect that you're a hard worker and that you try and improve yourself for the future. Where's this suddenly coming from? You won't get anything out of flattering me. He's always confident, so something felt off. Psyche let out a small chuckle at my attempt to deflect my embarrassment.
お前は昔から熱心だったけどさ。ここ数ヶ月頻繁に来るようになったのは銃刀法が解除されたからだろ。
You've always been passionate. You started coming here more once the weapons ban was lifted a few months ago, right? Yeah. As he said, it was around then he knew, even though I hadn't spoken about it. I definitely intensified my training after the weapons ban was lifted. Because this hunk of metal, which a trained police officer needed conviction to wield, had been distributed to the untrained masses. The world had turned into a place where people would half jokingly draw guns at other people, just as those men had done earlier today.
見たところ遊びたい盛りだろう。それなのにこんな事態に巻き込んだのは警察として申し訳ないと思う。しかしな、その鬱憤を晴らすために誰かを傷つけようとするな。その銃は身を守るために使うものだ。武器として扱うのは許さん。
When I remembered Mochida's words, the pistol felt heavier than ever. This was not something to be taken lightly. I'm sure that many of the citizens, baffled by the government policy, felt similarly. Some objected to the distribution of guns, but now some people will obviously use them, and not just for self-defense. I don't know what they were thinking when they decided to make civilians carry this burden. I have the conviction to shoot. I am a cop. That's my responsibility. I'll fulfill my duty no matter what. But
その覚悟を持てない一般人が引き金一つで人を殺せる武器を手にした。
I can kind of see why they put that little discretion thing or little note at the beginning that's like, oh, we're not trying to promote any sort of viewpoint aside or ideology, because like, I don't know, I could kind of see this like triggering like really pro-gun people. Like, I don't know. I guess I could kind of see how this could come off as like anti-gun or whatever. Not that it really matters. It's just like the game even states, it's just a fictitious world. People who haven't readied themselves now have the power to kill someone with a trigger pull. Yeah, I think that's weird too. The fact that we could carry guns set us apart. We trained to defend the law and had guns to uphold it. I see what you're saying. Even if the government says this is for self-defense, I think this is wrong. The people who run the country don't want to talk about what they've done here. I'm not in a position to protest it, but I can't approve of a world where people are suddenly made to wield a weapon. Words alone aren't enough. When the moment comes, my skills need to prevent civilians from ever having to use their guns.
Oh, 努力以前にお前の射撃は天性のもんだよ。
Yeah, I won't lag behind you, although I don't think I'd be able to beat you now. You've always had a gift for marksmanship. Psyche strolled away with a bright laugh. As I watched him leave, he looked back at me with a vague smile.
なあ、星野。お前は犯罪者を目の前にしたとき、守るために撃つ覚悟があるんだよな。
Hey, Hoshino, when a criminal is right in front of you, you're prepared to shoot to protect, right? Yeah. I could now resolutely answer the question that he had asked me before. Well, that's good. I returned to Psyche's smile and settled into a firing stance with my gun. I pulled the trigger without hesitation, as if to demonstrate my determination. Conviction was carved into my heart. I left the station and walked to my home when a brisk wind made me shiver. Ooh, that's cold. Even through a muffler and a thick coat, the December chill stung my body. My breath exited my body as a tiny white cloud and I glanced at the nearby buildings. This place sure has changed. Shinjuku used to be bustling day and night. Nowadays, it was mostly empty after nightfall. Much of society just stopped functioning once Shinjuku became quarantined. Shops, schools, and utilities continued to work to the government's satisfaction, but everything else was non-existent. So long as the criminals remained at large, there would always be an uneasiness here. It's hard to tell people to live their normal lives in this situation. You couldn't just visit friends anymore. You had to weigh it against being targeted. People didn't know whether they or their loved ones would be the next victims, but they had to go on living somehow. It was hard to put into words just how much I missed life before the quarantine. I know I'm not the only one who has come to this realization. I hurriedly took out my phone, which was displaying Mochida's name. Does he have a problem with my report? Wondering what I'd do if I was asked to return, I answered the call. Yes, this is Hoshino.
上がったばかりで悪いんだが仕事だ。何でも新宿園内で揉め事があったらしい。
Sorry to call you back to work, but it's urgent. It sounds like there's trouble in Shinjuku Garden. Shinjuku Garden. Anyone hearing that name would be wary. The X-Day incident in August, Shinjuku Garden was the scene of the crime and the epicenter of much public fear. It should be closed off to the public.
場所が場所だけに X-Day 事件と無関係とも言い切れない。
Given the case, we can't rule out a connection to the X-Day cases.
交番勤務の奴らは別件でほとんど出払ってるらしくてな。俺たちに応援要請があったってわけだ。
Most of the officers from the police boxes are out on other businesses, so they've asked us to respond to the situation. Acknowledged. I'll head there right away.
相手がどんな連中かわからないからな。俺が行くまで必ず現場で待機してろよ。
We don't know who or what we're dealing with. Stand by until I get there. You hear me? I know. I won't act on my own. I ended the call and hastily made my way over to Shinjuku Garden. When I arrived, I quickly scouted the area and assessed the situation. Oh shit. Nobody's here. The area was dark and visibility was poor. It'd be tough for me to tell if anyone was laying an ambush in there. Just in case, I drew my sidearm. I'd gotten into the habit of always carrying my weapon, and I had practiced often, but I had never actually used it in the field. Oh, shit. So to be honest, I was nervous. No shit, I would be too. Still, if I was confronted with someone who intended to take the lives of others, I would. I can't hesitate. While cautiously eyeing my surroundings, I approached the sealed gate to Shinjuku Garden. Why isn't Mochida here yet? It seemed like it was taking him an awfully long time to get to Shinjuku Garden. I wonder if he's gotten into some trouble. Oh no. While I was debating whether to call him, I heard the sound of footsteps approaching. Ah, is that Mochida? I turned around. I felt something push against my waist, then a shock coursed through my body. Ugh. Of course, we're in a church. I opened my eyes and saw a flickering light. Where am I? I tried to get up, but my body was numb and unresponsive. I couldn't move. What's going on? I tried to move my head to at least get a sense of my surroundings. Something's there. I felt a strange pressure around my neck. I wanted to check what it was, but I couldn't even raise my hands. No. Why? It was as if my body wasn't my own. Still, I gradually regained the use of my hands, and I timidly felt my neck. Is this a... collar? I grew pale as I felt the metallic coldness. What is this? What's it doing on me? And what am I doing here? Looking around, I saw that the floor around me was covered with what looked like red flowers. Flowers, scarlet like blood. Looking up, I could see the moonlight cascading through stained glass. Am I in a church? My body was paralyzed for reasons unknown. I was wearing an unfamiliar collar. Yet the ephemeral beauty of the stained glass dominated my attention for the moment. Where have I seen this stained glass?
どうやらお目覚めのようですね。星野一花さん。
You appear to finally be awake, Miss Hoshino. The voice was close. It was from the collar.
突然このような場所にお連れして、さぞや驚かれていることと思います。
I'm sure you were surprised to suddenly find yourself here.
ですが、どうしてもあなたと二人で話がしたいと思い、このような形を取らせていただきました。
I very much wanted to speak to you in private, so I arranged to have you collected in this manner. Who are you? Did you put this collar on me? Why did you?
その問いに、今は答えることはできません。ただ、どの道あなたは、我々にたどり着くことができ
Oh,
ましょう。
whoops. Regardless, you will eventually arrive at our humble abode. What do you mean?
あなたは選ばれた実験体なのです。これから私は X デーまでの間、あなたの行動を監視させていただきます。
You have been chosen as a test subject. Henceforth, we will be closely monitoring your actions until X day.
そして、あなたが自分の正義を貫いたその時こそ、こんな形ではなく、直接お会いすることをお約束します。
When you execute your own form of justice, I promise we will meet. Not like this, but in person. What is your goal? What experiment? What have you done to me?
お静かに、でないと、死にますよ。
Quiet now, or else you'll die, you know.
あなたの首につけさせていただいた首輪に、資料の毒が仕込まれています。
The collar currently around your neck contains a lethal poison. Poison?
ただ、 蝕んでいるのは遅効性の毒で資料ではありません。ここで死んでもらっては困りますからね。
The dose currently in your bloodstream has a delayed effect and is not a lethal dose. It would be a problem if you died here. They say their goal isn't to kill me. That's why I'm in this paralyzed state. I have no idea what they're up to. Everything I learned only made me more tense. Still, as a police officer, I couldn't just sit quietly and take this. After all, the voice coming from the caller mentioned something about X Day. I have to investigate it further. I need to at least get some useful information so I can report it.
なお、このことは警察に口外しないでください。こちらもむやみに手をかけたくはないの。
Oh, please do not speak of this to the police. We'd like to avoid taking drastic measures.
あなたの身近な人間や大切な人を失うのは悲しいでしょう。
And surely, you'd feel quite lonely if you were to lose those dear to you, right? I don't know how much this criminal knows about me, but if they're going to threaten the people close to me, I won't forgive you. I'll never forgive you for this.
あなたのその言葉が嘘ではないというのです。
We hope that you are being truthful, but we have no interest in impotent.
我々は薄っぺらい正義心など興味ない。求めるのは崇高な志なのです。
Self-righteousness. What we seek are noble intentions.
この世に満ちた悪意、曖昧な法、理想ばかりが鮮やかで形のない正義。
The world's full of malice and vague laws, but ideals are clear, formless justice. Whoops.
真実を知ったあなたがどう抗うのか、我々と共に再生を導けるのか、楽しみにしていますよ。
Will learning the truth change your struggle? Will you lead the rebirth with us? We look forward to learning the answer.
さあ、見せてください。星野一花さん。
Now show us. Ichiga Oshino.
あなたの正義。
Show us what justice means to you. wondered how much time had passed. Despite my entreaties, the collar was silent. My body was still paralyzed, and worse, I felt it getting harder and harder to breathe. They said it wasn't a lethal dose, but I don't know if that's true. At this rate, if nobody finds me soon. As the thought suddenly crossed my mind, my vision grew dark. I'm scared. Somebody help me.
お前
You there.
おいしっかりしろ
Hey, keep it together. Somebody found me. Perhaps I would be saved. While clinging on to that shred of hope, I looked at the man in front of me. Who are you?
無理にされるな俺はお前を探していた
Don't force yourself to talk. I've been looking for you. Me?
お前の状況は把握してる心細かっただろうがもう大丈夫
We know what's happened to you. Hang in there. Everything will be okay.
絶対に助ける
It'll be all right. We've got you. Once I heard those words, my crippling terror began to subside a bit. However, some doubt stubbornly remained. They were looking for me, and they know what's happened to me. How did they know? How did they know I was here? After having that realization, my would-be savior suddenly seemed much more frightening.
俺は怖いか
Are you afraid of me? He must have seen a change in my expression. The man looked at me and then...
俺様だあの時と同じだ
This is just like that other time. He seemed kind of sad as he murmured that, so I couldn't take my eyes off him. Why is he making that face? But this time... Oh. I'll be sure to. I couldn't catch the end of his whisper. Huh. That voice. For an instant, something clicked in my mind. I'd seen these sorrowful eyes somewhere. A voice that filled me with deep calm. This should have been our first meeting. I felt like those qualities were familiar. Who are you? Just as I opened my mouth to voice that question,
柳先輩
Yanagi.
その女か
So she's the one.
ああこの首輪といい間違いない榎本予告状はお前が持ってたな
Yeah. See that collar? There's no doubt about it. Enomoto, did you bring the notice?
はいここに
Yes, here. The man lifting me in his arms took what appeared to be a letter from a man who was wearing an eye patch.
これは俺たち宛てに届いた予告状だ
This is a notice that was addressed to us. He unfolded the sheet so that I was able to see it. As part of the X-Day countdown, a woman will be poisoned to death on the 6th of December at 12 a.m. There's only one way to save her. You must enter the unlock code given below into the collar the woman is wearing. Furthermore, if the police are notified, we will immediately kill the woman. Even if you save the woman, you are not to speak of the collar. We will be monitoring your actions through the collar. Should you violate any of these terms, you will be placing her life in jeopardy. Heed this warning well. X-Day countdown. I me.
狙われるだけの理由がお前にあるってことじゃねえ
Well, can't you think of some reason why they'd be targeting you? Huh?
のバカを黙ってろ時間が
Shut up, idiot. We don't have time for this. Oh yeah, I remember him being a dick.
笹さんの言う通りだ。事情を聞くのは解毒してから。
Sasazuka's right. It can wait until we've neutralized the toxin.
でも罠かもしれない
But it could be a trap.
榎本、二度は言わない。命がかかってるんだぞ。
Enomoto, I won't repeat myself. Her life is at stake. Honestly, I don't know if I can trust these people. But at this rate, I don't want to die without even trying. I made up my mind and prepared to speak. If there's a way to stop it, please help me.
まあ、解除コードはここに入力するらしいな。
Yeah, it looks like we need to enter the code. Here. The man touched somewhere on the collar while supporting my body weight. I thought I was ready, but I was still scared. Not knowing what was about to happen, I squeezed my eyes shut.
少しだけ我慢してくれ。大丈夫だから。
Just hold on a little bit longer. You'll be okay. I was standing on the border between life and death. I had no idea whether or not I'd draw another breath. What a strange situation. I want to trust this man. The moment that thought formed in my mind, ow, I let out a gasp as the collar lanced me. No, did we screw up?
柳さんどうなんだ
Also, it's weird how deep his voice is. Yanagi, what's happening? When I heard their anxious voices, I worried that the darkness would claim me. But soon I felt something change. Huh, I can move? I slowly opened my eyes. The man holding me exhaled a sigh of relief.
どうやら解除は成功したようだな。
It looks like it worked. Yes, I can feel my body again.
なんだよ紛らわしい
Really? Make it more obvious next time. Sorry. When I felt the pain in my neck, I thought I was done for, but it seems like I made it. Breathing had finally become easier, so I patted my chest in relief.
顔色もさっきよりマシだよな柳先輩やっぱ最初から 解毒剤が首輪に仕込まれてたってことですよね。
Her collar's looking better than it was. Excuse me. Her collar's looking better than it was earlier. Yanagi, it seems like the collar contained the antidote. Most likely. Yanagi, was it? Thank you for saving my life. I was still woozy, but I managed to stand up and bow to him.
俺だけの手柄じゃない。この二人もお前を探すために走り回ってたしな。
No, I didn't do it alone. They've been running all over looking for you. I turned to look at the other two as Yanagi mentioned them. Thank you.
そんなことはどうでもいい。それより犯人がなんでお前を選んだか、俺はそれが知りたいんだよ。
Enough. Who cares? We need to know why the criminals picked you. That's why I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I'm sorry. I'd like to give you an answer, but I honestly have no idea.
それで納得できるわけないだろ。お前は殺されかけたんだぞ。
As if we can just simply accept that you were almost killed.
殺されるだけの理由があるんだよ。そう考えるのが普通だろ。
There's obviously a reason they tried to kill you specifically. Anyone can see that. What? Why is he being so hostile towards me? Because he's an asshole. I can't just accept that you guys showed up out of the blue either. It's not like I automatically trust you now. I'm grateful that you rescued me, but how exactly did you get that notice about my situation in the first place?
今はこっちの質問にだけ答えろ。お前と犯人の関係性がわからない限り、ほいほい情報を与えられないからな。
I'm the one asking the questions here. I can't just give you intel while we don't know your relationship to the criminals.
おい、タケル。言いたいことはわかるけど落ち着けって。
Easy, Taku. I see your point, but take it down a bit.
って、柳先輩、何してるんですか?
Yanagi, what are you doing?
そこに銃が落ちてた。犯人のものか。
Someone dropped a gun here. Is it the criminals? Or maybe... that's mine.
そうか。この町で銃を持っていること自体は不思議じゃないが。
I see. It isn't unusual for people to be carrying guns around here.
この銃は警察が使用しているものだな。
Isn't this a police model? It is. How did you know that?
俺が元警察官だからだ。
I used to be a police officer. Huh? Inagi let out a little chuckle when he saw my jaw drop.
信じられないなら調べてもらって構わない。俺は警視庁捜査一課にいた柳田愛知だ。
If you don't believe me, feel free to look me up. IG Inagi, formerly Investigations Section 1. Investigation Section 1 at HQ? That would be very easy to verify, so it was unlikely that he was lying.
銃と一緒に警察手帳も落ちていたからな。これを見れば誰でもお前が警察官だとわかるだろう。
Plus, you dropped your notebook along with your gun. It'd be pretty obvious to anyone that you're police. While Yanagi talked, he opened my police notebook. Ichika Hoshino? Excuse me?
ああ、悪い。
Right. Sorry. I took my gun and notebook back from Yanagi. I was going to ask about them once again, but my phone began to vibrate. Pardon me. That's right. Mochi to us.
誰から？
Who's it from? My superior. I was attacked while we were supposed to meet up in response to a call.
なら、ここに長居しない方がいい。話の続きは場所を変えて仕切り直そう。
Then he shouldn't stay here too long. We'll continue this another time elsewhere.
そうっすね。ここじゃ落ち着いて話聞けなさそうだし。
Right. Sounds like we won't have time to chat.
こいつを野放しにするのか？
Are we just cutting her loose?
そりゃ姿くらまされたら問題だけど、ここで捕まえて無理やり連れてっても、こいつの周囲に怪しまれるだろ。
Well, it'd be tough to hide her. Even if we took her captive, it just draws suspicion to her, wouldn't it?
笹塚の懸念もわからなくはない。
Sasazuka, I understand your concerns.
だが、俺は彼女が怯えていたのが演技だとは思えなかった。
But doesn't seem like her fear is just an act.
彼女が何も知らない被害者なら、真実を知りたいのは俺たちだけじゃない。
If she's just a victim, then we aren't the only ones here who want to know the truth. I nodded earnestly as he turned to me. Okay. I think I'm gonna end it here for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just, I guess, let me know what you think down below. Hopefully this wasn't too cringy and that the audio was okay. But yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do to make it sound better, or if everything's okay, or what. And let me know any games that you find relaxing, that you enjoy listening to people play. Because I've got some other cozy games in my game library that aren't visual novels, like, you know, the typical farming cozy games, you know. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you with some, well, hopefully I'll see you with some more collarxmalice. Thank you, and hopefully you're asleep or all cozied up. Bye bye. Take care.